Hey all, so in this video we'll be building a tooltip component in Figma, and we'll be using absolute positioning property for it, which is a feature that Figma released just a couple of months ago, and it's actually pretty much the same feature that we have in code in CSS, the absolute positioning property. So to get started, like always, start by making a new Figma file and figma.new, very neat shortcut. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a text layer, and let's say for our tooltip component we actually want to have a title, so we're going to start with that. Let's make it like semi-bold, make it slightly lighter gray. And our second layer is going to be an actual text, the description. So I'm going to show you a really fun Ipsum tool that I sometimes use. So for real products, probably try to find real copy, but sometimes if you need filler text, this one is really fun. So I'm going to copy a sentence, paste it in here. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And now I'm going to combine these two text layers, do Shift A to create auto layout, adjust spacing, and then let's add some vertical and horizontal padding. We'll add a fill, border radius, and a shadow. We'll make this one just a little bit softer. Okay, so from here we'll set this to fixed width, and then we'll set this to fill container and hug contents. So now we're going to create a polygon to make our little triangle arrow, and we will make it, let's give it a white fill, and we'll select just one corner here, give it a 2 pixel radius, and from here we can take our new pointy arrow and place it inside our frame. But as you can see, it kind of right away falls into this auto layout setup, which is what we don't want to do in this case. So in order to have full control of where does this element go, we're going to set it to absolute position. So if you go here over to the right, there is this small icon. Once you click it, you can see that auto layout completely disregards this element, but it is still inside the frame. So from here, we're going to center it and place it on the top, and we can even move it slightly out of the frame. And as you can see, we were able to create a tooltip relatively quickly. We still have just one auto layout, one frame, and it fits in super nicely. And as you can see, we also did not add a shadow, and the tooltip arrow just inherited the shadow that was set on the frame originally. Now what we can do is to turn this frame into a component, and let's rename it, let's call it a tooltip. And the first thing that we're going to do is, so we do have a title here, but let's say we don't always want to have a title inside our tooltips. So what we can do is select this text layer. Then we're going to go over to this layer section, click this icon, and I guess that's a pretty good name, so let's stick with this one. And let's keep the value at true. Okay. And let's just test it out to see how it works. Okay, so that works fine. And also let's see, it just resizes a little bit just to make sure that the text resizes and that the tooltip itself doesn't stretch out. What we can do from here is start creating variants that have this tooltip arrow in different positions regarding to the tooltip body itself. And actually, if you want, you can also turn this into its own separate component. I'm not going to do it here, but it's certainly something that you can do. So we're going to add a variant here, and let's apply auto layout, at least for now, and just give the component set a little bit more padding. So this one would be position, and it will be bottom center. Next one, we're going to turn this one around, bring it all the way down. And now we have one that's top center. From here, we can do one that's, let's say, on the right. Center it. Position right, and this one will do position left. So now we want to create a couple that are not centered, but a little bit over to the left and to the right. So what we're going to do for this one is bring it all the way over to the left, and then set this one to 16. So you see it's not hanging all the way over to the edge, but it's kind of like nicely in line with the text title and the description. And this one is going to be bottom left. Then for our next one, we want it to be over on the right. So we'll bring it to the right, and then we can again move it over 16 pixels. We're going to do the same thing with the one on the top. So let's bring this one over 16. And this one is top right. Okay, so you have your tooltips. I think these are all the variants. And let's test it out. Right. So this seems to work fine. So the last thing that we can do here is create a dark theme variant for this. And I'm actually going to remove auto layout because I don't want the variants to just keep on going in one long line. And before we copy paste any variants, we're going to create the property first. And let's call it theme. And we'll set it to light by default. The reason we do this first is that after we copy paste, we don't want the position values to get messed up and for it to say like, oh, position 7, 8, 9. We instead just want to update this theme property because it will be much faster. So let's make a copy and we'll just give it a dark value. And from here, all we really have to do is just swap the colors. So we can have a darker background and obviously lighter text color. Okay, now we can test this. And this still works fine. So very last thing we can do, and you obviously don't need to stick around for this one, is I'm just going to go ahead and grab a tooltip that I made maybe a couple of years ago, way before we had absolute position in Figma. And I'm just going to compare the implementation of this component versus how I used to implement it. Okay, so this is just cut this. Okay, so this is our new component and this is one of my older components, and the biggest difference here is in this little arrow. So as you can see here, in order for me to bring this one over to the right a little bit, I had to put it inside a separate auto layout frame and then give it a padding over on the left. And after I did that, I also had to take this auto layout frame and this auto layout frame and then add another auto layout frame on top of it. So we end up with 3 auto layouts, and it's just getting a little bit too complicated for a very not complicated component. But in case of this one, since we can just rely on absolute position, we only have 1 auto layout frame total. So that's it for tooltips. I do have the completed file on my Figma page, so feel free to just go ahead and grab it. Let me know if you want to see the old implementation of the tooltip component, and I can add it to the file as well. Also, let me know if you have any questions, comments, feedback, and yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.